What's going on, everybody? Chaseontwowheels here with Team Behind, and today we're talking build plans for the CBR 300R.
Did you just call us Team Behind?
Technically, yes, I called you Team Behind, even though that is not what I meant. So, if you guys are not familiar, this is our CBR 300 that we picked up for our Wreck Bike Rebuild Season 5. It's one of 3 CBRs that we have given away over on Patreon. So, if you want to be one of our first 1,000 patrons, we're keeping tabs. We're trying to get to that first 1,000. Top link down below takes you to Patreon. That is how you win the motorcycles that we give away. But we got a 300 with a blown up engine, and you guys are probably curious, what's it gonna be? Well, I'm gonna tell you. So, to start things off, the engine is blown up. There's really no other way to say it. So the guy we bought it from was riding it down the highway, and then randomly, Brian, did he just say it died, or?
Yeah, it just stopped.
It just stopped. Brian, would you try to crank the engine up for us real quick?
Sure.
Why not? Let's just give it off. Like,
He just spewed. Oh no! He just vomited all over the fucking place. I don't know if you guys have heard it because there's absolutely no muffler on that thing, but man, that thing's awfully rattly. It fucking threw up. You tried to roll it over like 12 times and nothing, and the second that you're sitting next to it.
so our 300 has diarrhea, apparently. As far as build plans, that's probably the first thing we're gonna hit. We're gonna have to get some Pepto-Bismol for motorcycles.
If we have engine oil, we should put some oil in this thing and let it run.
Oh my god.
Okay.
So when we went to pick the bike up, the guy said that they did an oil change, and there were metallic pieces in it, which Brian tells me is a terrible thing.
Not an oil change.
I thought they took the oil out.
Drain the oil out.
They drained the oil, had metal in it. The things in the inside of the engine are metal, so that if they're grinding together, your oil is going to be shiny. It has shiny oil. Engines, we're going to have to open that thing up. And by we, I mean me with his assistance. So, it's got diarrhea. So, thanks, Luke. Appreciate that. So, I don't think we've told you guys yet, but our plans for this CBR 300R is to turn it into it's a mock flat tracker, right, Brian? It's not going to be a flat tracker.
Flat Tracker REPLICA.
We're going to make it into a Flat Tracker replica. If you guys don't know what a flat tracker is, it looks like this. It's those crazy ass motorcycles that are all lent over and going around a little dirt circle. Absolutely nuts. Lent over, that's...
Leaned over, my dude.
Linked over.
Lent over. Because of that, because that's our goal with this motorcycle, we're probably gonna have to play the custom exhaust game. Brian, do you know of any, like, are we talking like bi-tubing and shit? Or like, how custom are we talking about exhaust?
I think we'll actually have to buy an exhaust system, and then we'll have to make a connector pipe to put the muffler where we want it.
Right.
So we're not going to build the entire exhaust system from scratch.
Right.
But we'll have to have an extension pipe custom built for us.
So we're gonna have to do that. That's, wow, exposure. So that's the plan for the exhaust. I'm gonna step all in this diarrhea, my Jesus. Okay, so next thing up on the build plans is, right now, you guys can see the general look of the motorcycle, right? We got fairings and shit. So all of that's going away. Specifically the head. That's totally gonna be gone. There's gonna be like a number plate on the front, and we're trying to figure out some type of like subtle lighting to put in the front, because we do want this thing to be able to ride on the road, and for it to ride on the road, we gotta have lights in the front. So We're currently figuring out what type of number plate situation to do. So we'll take you guys through the entire process. So you'll see what we end up doing. Most likely, we're gonna have to get a different cluster though, because if you guys can see how big this thing is, like look how massive. There's no way we can have this like cut off flat front and still use this guy. So probably gonna be end up using some sort of like aftermarket tachometer. That thing is so fun. Let me see it. Look at that. So this is an idea of like the general look that we're trying to go for.
Yes.
So with that look, that also brings us to the wheels. So Brian has been doing extensive research on the types of wheels we're gonna be putting on this thing, because ideally it's gonna be kind of like a supermoto. You can ride it on the street and you can ride it on dirt, and they make Flat Tracker tires. But we don't know if we can get Flat Tracker tires that are sized correctly for this motorcycle. So if we aren't able to end up doing Flat Tracker tires, I think we're going to go with like a dual sport type motorcycle tire. Is that correct, Brian?
Yes.
Sweet, exact answer I need. Also, we're looking at doing spoked wheels on this thing. If you guys don't know what spoked wheels are, boom, that's what they look like. I think spoked wheels would accentuate the freaking look. Wait, did that Flat Tracker you just showed me, did it have spoke wheels? Spoke wheels, my dude. It is going to make this thing look absolutely freaking clutch. So, dual sport tires, spoke wheels. Best case scenario, we get Flat Tracker tires to put on this bitch. All right, so next up on the totally of the changing of this motorcycle, we currently have clip-ons. For a Flat Tracker, we are gonna have to change this to a handlebar setup. So a lot of this stuff might be sounding similar to our CBR 1000. We've got spoke wheels, check, and we got a handlebar situation. So we're kind of changing the geometry of both of those motorcycles in similar ways, but this is gonna be totally different. Now, if you guys looked at that photo that Brian was showing you, these things are super minimalized. And if we're starting from a bike that's made to have fairings, it's got all these little fairing mounting tabs here on the frame, this little guy. A lot of those, we're gonna end up lobbing those things off, and the way to make these things stand out a ton is to get the frame powder coated. So you guys can see the frame, this little trellis frame situation. We got to take the engine out and rebuild it anyway, so what we're gonna do is while we have the engine out, we're gonna strip the entire bike down, send the frame out to powder coat. We're gonna powder coat it some like crazy ass color or something like that, whatever the design color we end up going with. So before we send it out to powder coat, we're definitely gonna have to cut off all these little extra tabs. But we can't cut off all the tabs because we need a few for something else. Now, we're not quite sure if we can do this, but with this thing being able to be off-roaded, we are wanting to do some sort of like skid plate to protect the exhaust and all that kind of stuff, because God forbid you're riding this thing off-road and then a giant freaking rock comes up, boom, F's your S up. You know what I'm saying? We don't want that to happen. So what we're probably gonna have to end up doing is getting a custom skid plate created, and then using some of the solid mounting points on the frame to make sure it's got a solid point. You can't, I brought this up earlier, Brian told me I was terribly wrong. I was like, hey, we can just not cut off some of the fairing mounting plates and use those. And he was like, yeah, we should definitely use the mounting plates that are used to hold very light plastic to protect the entire motorcycle with a skid plate. So you gotta mount it to something super hard, which is what, you know, stuff like this. This boy compared to this boy, one of those is stronger than the other one. You don't have to be smart to know which one it is. Also, while we're down here, radiator. Very weak little situation. A rock will F that up. So we don't know if there's radiator guards or something like that, but we're definitely gonna have to protect the radiator because no front fender to protect it from rocks. So, okay, final thing.
From the rear.
Final thing is going to be massively cleaning up the tail section of the motorcycle. Like I told you guys, we don't need fairings, we don't need these giant handles, and We don't need none of this gross shit. The tail section of the motorcycle is going to get a massive overhaul. As you guys can see, the rear of the frame, it's one solid frame. There's no subframe. Like a lot of motorcycles have a subframe that you just bolt on to the frame. We don't have that in this situation. This frame goes all the way back. So we're basically gonna take all of the plastic pieces off the damn thing and then try to minimize this as much as possible. We don't know how much of the electronics we can move around. We'll probably figure that out as we do the build, but the goal is to minimize back here as much as possible. I'll post a photo. Brian, you got a photo of what a flat tracker tail, you got like a piece to show me, right?
Sure.
I'm gonna post that photo here because the tail section, if it can look like that thing, would be absolutely freaking sick. So that is the overview of the build plans we have for this motorcycle. There are gonna be a ton of little decisions that go down and like colors of this and levers in this and blah, 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 that we'll find out as we build. But what we wanted to give you guys in this video was like a general idea of the direction of the path we are going down. Brian, did I miss out on anything important?
Well, it looks like you got your list all crossed off and you've covered your bases so far. I think that's pretty much everything for now.
This, of all the 3 CBRs we're working on right now, the one you see behind me is probably the one that is gonna look the least the same as it does right now. This thing is going to go through one of those total transformations similar to the bobber that we did. It started as one thing and it ended as something that you could not tell where it started from. So that's kind of what we plan on doing with the little CBR. You know, we've got the engine rebuild that we're gonna be doing, and I've been hearing some stuff over on Patreon that the guys have been saying there are like engine upgrade kits. So we're gonna be looking into that because hell, we're gonna have the thing busted open anyway. Might as well look into stuff like that. So we've got a fun little path for the CBR 300. This is probably the last time you guys are gonna see this thing in, I mean, it ain't even put together. It's halfway taken apart already. So you guys look at it, enjoy it, say goodbye. Let's tell it goodbye in the comments down below. But anyways, guys, I'm Chaseontwowheels. If you guys wanna watch more in-depth videos of us taking shit apart and learn some stuff, make sure to check out patreon.com/Chaseontwowheels. It'll be the top link in the description. And that's all I got. Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more stuff. Everybody say bye.
Bye.
Oh!
Wow, what a fancy little thing.
Yeah, this is gonna be
Outro crew, do us a favor. Let us know what your favorite stomach medication is that we could give to the CBR so it could stop having diarrhea.
I want you to notice how far away it's spewed. There's just garbage.
Oh man.
It made yeah.
Gross. Thanks for getting to the end of the video. I'm gonna go clean the damn floor now. Bye.